exciting. I want to
and love you. And I only know it's easy hard to see whenever. Oh, see your life, find someone who will turn your world around, pick you up when you're feeling down. Yeah, now nothing can change what you mean to me.
Hi to all of you who are here for tonight's webinar. It's a very exciting topic today. And because it's so exciting, I want to save the best for everyone to be here. So let's give all of our attendees another about 3 to 5 more minutes before let me go straight into the comparison today. And my name is Kelly, and by now you will have known that I am the speaker for today, and I will be very excited to continue to talk to you about today's topic because I spent tons of hours doing this with you. Okay, so stay tuned for another about, let's say, 3 minutes more.
I've been waiting for so long for something to arrive, for love to come along. Mm. Now our dreams are coming true through the good times and the bad. I'll be standing there by you. Oh, oh, oh. And love is all that I...
Okay, we're seeing more and more people coming in already. Let's start in 3 minutes time. Thank you all of you who are punctual today. For the benefit of the traffic, or some of us might be actually attending to our kids. Let's give the rest another 2 more minutes before I'll start the topic for today.
Oh, thinking about a younger you. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching my YouTube channel. If you like the covers that I do, please do not forget to subscribe.
I find you now. I walk in circles, but I'll never figure out what I mean to you. Do I belong?
2 minutes time, we're gonna start.
Not that strong, and I feel so helpless here. Watch, my eyes are filled with fear.
Kelly singing, no. Hello. Hi. I see you all the time. I wish I had voice like that. So funny, are you? Have you had your dinner already?
I come alive. I need to be free with you.
So for the rest of you who are here, thank you for your patience. We will start exactly at 8:03 p.m. So meanwhile, how are you guys for today? Do you have any questions for you? I know you like to learn. Market's so hot. Yeah, you have eat what? Quick bowl. Oh. Oh, quick, so you can join me. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Today is a very exciting topic because I spent a lot of time doing this. And I'm very sure that with all this information that I will be presenting to all of you here, you will walk away with a lot of insights. And that is the main objective I want for all of you here. Right. And another 30 more seconds, we're going to start. Let's just wait for a while. 30 seconds more.
Sister and brother, we understood we'll never be alone. Those days are gone.
Okay.
Truth so much.
All right, man, let's start. Let me off the music, or rather lower the volume.
Need your love.
Okay, I've seen that more and more people are here already. Let me go straight to the main topic for today. And this is what we are going to talk about today. A very interesting topic, because if you have been following me, you would have known that actually I am also looking for an investment property at this point of time. So we already purchased one of our own stay property, and now we're looking for investment. And for those of you who have vested interest in these two areas, please stay till the end, because I promise there will be lots of juice for you and lots of insights, and then you will feel very encouraged and motivated to see whether it tallies with your investment or own stay plan or not. So Zion and Penrith, which is actually better? Like I have a lot of clients, they ask me like, hey, maybe Zion is better, but you know, Zion may have oversupply situation there. What happen if it's oversupply? Like even my husband, he questions me like, hey, later Zion very hard to sell or not? You know what I mean? And for Penrith, it's a neighborhood area, it's a RCR plot, it's definitely so hard to go wrong, you know. And also the layouts are seemingly quite efficient, which I will touch on towards the end of the webinar. And then after that, I also, you know, had people telling me that, you know, both of them, the price are so close. It makes sense to go for Zion. So whatever stage you are at today, I understand that, you know, at some point we'll definitely have some form of confusion. And that is the reason why we are only limiting to 30 slots, because I want you all to try to interact with me. Please throw me as many questions as you can during this sharing, so that you can also get your questions answered and with clarity. So feel free to, you know, interact with me during the chat, because I am looking at it in order to be able to address your questions along the way. So between Penrith and Zion, which is actually a better buy? Like, is it more, if you're, or some of us could be buying for investment, some of us could be buying for own stay. But the dilemma is, I want a good buy. I want to make sure that this is the best buy for me, because it's more than a few millions of purchase. I cannot make a wrong decision. So if you're one of these buyers who are also very concerned about making a wrong decision in this market, either with these two properties, then you have to take note that, you know, we'll be covering a few things today. First, we'll be covering the exit strategy positioning. It will be broken down into a few areas in terms of developers pricing strategy for both projects, and also what do I forecast about the market over here or over there moving forward. And we'll also be comparing rental yield with these developments and within the development's estate, which means we'll be cross-referencing with some of the close competitors for both projects to give you a very fair assessment on rental yield. And lastly, very importantly, we also need to look at layout, because why? You can have a fantastic development, but if you don't have good layout, it spoils everything. And at the end of the day, you're just going to waste your monies. So before I'm going to go on to the next part, I want to ask all of you who are here, okay, just to make sure your keyboard is working, can you tell me whether are you more leaning towards Penrith or are you more leaning towards Zion? If you're more leaning towards Penrith, type a P for me. If you're more leaning towards Zion, type a Z for me. Please interact with me so that I can make this webinar very engaging. I don't know what is A. Just make a wild guess. All right, all right. Okay, I have a few answers. What about the rest? There's so many of you here today. Can you talk to me? Tell me. Make a wild guess. Are you team Penrith or are you team Zion? I only have a few answers. Can we have more response so that I know your keyboard is working? Okay, okay. All right. So as you're as all right, I got it. To be honest, I am very torn because as a buyer, I'm also not sure whether Penrith and Zion better, because I now have a lot of information and I'm feeling very greedy at this point of time. So let's go on. As usual, the disclaimer is to share with all of you everything that I'm going to present are based on my own analysis. If you feel that there's some questions or areas that is not clear enough and you're too shy to ask the question, please feel free to reach out after the webinar. I'm open for you to throw me anything. But if you really want your questions to be answered now because you're afraid you will forget, you know where to type your question and I'll be there to answer to you. Let's look at location, because Zion and Penrith are very close location comparison. Where are they exactly? If you hadn't known, actually near to Queenstown MRT. It is only 380 meters away. That having said, this is the plot that is Penrith, and I actually personally went down to the site itself. I have walked through the park connector, and I noticed that there is actually sheltered all the way over here to go to Queenstown MRT. This means that if you're someone thinking of, maybe I want to have easy access to this plot in future, what you will get is from Queenstown, you'll walk through this over here, cross the park connector and go to the side gate right beside Penrith. Otherwise, another way you could walk through is you can actually cut through over here and walk down here. Totally depends on your preference. I can verify that I was concerned about whether there's going to be shelter. The good thing is that there is going to be shelter from here to here, but there is no shelter when you're crossing the park connector. So if you're very stringent about next time if I want to rent, my tenant will have to walk through here and come to me. This could be a problem. Then this might be something you want to take note of, because I do see tenants having feedback that, very mafan or very inconvenient to walk from here to here leh. So these are the experience I see on the ground. And then for Penrith itself, you also see that there's shopping mall, but shopping malls are not the extravagantly big popular malls. You have Anchor Point, which is a smaller size mall that addresses the F&Bs and stuff, which is 938 meter away. Well, 938 meter will mean that probably around 12 minutes walk, slow walk. And then you have Queenstown Shopping Center, a very vintage mall that I used to buy my Converse shoes over there. It is at 1.18 kilometer. Absolutely no way you want to walk because it's so hot in Singapore. So I would say the plus point for Penrith is a good location at 380 meter to Queenstown MRT. And unfortunately, there is a Queenstown Primary that is 180 meter. Why do I say is unfortunately? Because Queenstown Primary is, to me, because I grew up in a Tiong Bahru area, or my school was Outram Secondary School and my primary school was Zhang De Primary School, and that means that I kind of pretty much grew up in this whole neighborhood in both sides. So my memories of Queenstown Primary School is a little bit rowdy. So I'm not sure if it's still the same, but as of now, in terms of ranking, it is not a popular school. It means that it's one of the normal school. So if you're particular about investing and having a good school beside you, definitely Penrith is not the one. But if you're not really bothered about the school, you're more bothered about MRT, then absolutely Penrith could be something you want to consider. Now back to this Zion. For Zion, this is the plot that we will be it will be launched. It's called Zion Grand, and this over here, right beside Promenade Peak, this bigger plot here. For Zion, you actually have Havelock MRT right at your doorstep. You just take a lift downwards because there's an exit immediately. Then it's only 119 meter away. That means that if you walk the underpass, it's sheltered. From the development to go to the MRT is also sheltered. It's a lift down underpass that goes straight to Havelock here. Because it's 119 meter, it means that the walking duration probably be about 3 to not more than 5 minutes if you are taking a very slow walk. Otherwise, if you want to take the MRT up to Great Wall as well, it's also okay. If you're feeling explorative, you can try to walk to Great Wall at 385 meter, which is also similar distance as what Penrith is having with Queenstown. Lastly, you also have connectivity to Tiong Bahru MRT, which is the east-west line. So for malls, I love Great World City. It's a nice mall. I can get everything there. I love to shop there. There's also like a cinema and everything there. So I would say it's a full-size mall. And you also have some other smaller malls like Valley Point and Tiong Bahru Plaza, which is a neighborhood mall. So with that, I also want to share that in this context, why initially I like Zion Grand is also because of the River Valley Primary School, which used to be one of the top 30 schools in Singapore and is highly sought after. And as the years come by, there are better schools that actually start picking up. That leaves River Valley Primary slightly at a not so good ranking already. But is it one of the top 30 school or 40 school in Singapore? I would say yes, just that it's not the top 10 or 20. So it depends on your expectation. Do you want to get like top 10, 20 school, or you don't mind a top 30 school beside you within 1 kilometer? So in this context, if I'm going to weigh out both projects, both of them actually have MRT, but these have actually 3 MRT within 1 kilometer, with Havelock being only 3 minutes walk away. And in terms of shopping mall, this Zion Grand will actually have more advantage because the malls are more fully, furnished. And you also have River Valley Primary School, which is one of the better school as compared to Queenstown Primary. So if I just purely look at this, I will definitely give Zion Grand an extra point for the locality itself. What about the fact sheets? Let's take a look at both developments and their differences. So for this Penrith, what you will have is 2-bedroom all the way to 4-bedroom. And the plot ratio is 4.2, which means that it's going to be a high-rise development going up to level 40. And then it's a 462 residential units. And then there's also 370 residential lots. So sometimes people will be worried, it seems like there's only 370 residential lots. Is it okay? So long as it's about 70% or more, I think it's very, very healthy. And since there's no one better for this Penrith, we are actually expecting the developers to focus mainly on own stay elements, or or young couples, or couples with no kids, or maybe one kid. The developer itself is from Guaco Land, which has been extremely active for the past 2 years. Taking over Lentor area, taking out Springleaf. In these recent years. So Guaco Land developments have performed very well in terms of the take-up rate. And they actually is also a joint venture with Hong Leong's. Hong Leong is also a very well-known developer where they have tons of development that they have built, which we'll touch on later. Then on the other side, we have Zion, which is done by CDL, and we all love CDL projects. Because it's CDL project, I have a lot of clients just waiting for this development for the past 1 year because they know it's from CDL. I have like literally CDL supporters. And then also this time around, they have a JV with Mitsui Fudosan. So this is a Japanese-based developer that has a lot of experience with building extremely nice architectural designs, which later on I will share with you as well. So with this interesting JV, let's see what have they come up with. In terms of the expected vacant possession is 2032. As it's a bigger scale development, you should expect the TOP to be around 2030 to 2031 range. Whereas for Penrith, you should expect the key collection here to be somewhere around 2029, from 2025 to 2029 quarter 4, or quarter 1 2030, depends on this range as well. The difference in the TOP date should be around 1 year apart because the size and scale of developments are different, and there's actually service apartment for Zion. And then there's a total of 599 car park lots for a 706 residential unit development. Of course, not to forget that Zion Grand has 373 service apartments, which is exclusive for their hospitality portion. If you are not familiar, CDL actually has a hospitality department that they have hotels and also lodgings. What is very interesting is that their architect is from Nikken Seki, and they also have a land architect. What do I mean? For Zion Grand, it's a mixture of developer which has experience with building extremely nice architectural buildings or designs, layout and stuff. They also collab or they have also gotten landscape architect and building architects to make everything efficient. So CDL is known for good layout. And then you have landscape architect and building architect to piece everything together for layout, for building, and for facilities. So what have CDL produced so far is a Hill Residences, Boulevard 88, and they also have plenty more in the CCR and OCR area and even ASEAN. And then for this, their JV and Mitsui Fudosan, they are based in Japan. They have Tokyo Midtown. They also have Hudson Yards in US. So for the landscape architect, they have done developments like Newport Residences, Upper House, One Marina Garden, even the Jadescape, my favorite project before that during that time, because it was one of the highlights of most of the developments there, because Jadescape is an extremely nice development with onsen inside. So now you understand why, because the architect designer is actually also, you know, JV with Japanese as a background, so they have an in-house onsen. And of course, Leiden Green and Park Esta, Jadescape and Park Esta perform super well. They make a lot of profit, as much as cross 1 million as well. And then you also have architect Nikken Seiki, where they are based in Japan, as mentioned. And what is important is that they are one of the designer, or rather they are the designer of iconic projects around the world, like Tokyo Sky 3, Singapore Rail Corridor Master Plan. And they also have this Disneyland. They are also one of the architects that have designed the Japan Disneyland. So by piecing this together, you can actually expect that Zion Grand is going to look very, very nice. But hold your thought, because at this moment, it's really not about deciding just because the building and facility and everything is nice. It also boils down to dollar and cents to make sure everything has to piece together, and the dollar and cents has to make sense as well. So let me continue with that part later on, and let's go back to developer. For developer itself, if you take a look at the hierarchy, you will realize Hong Leong Group is actually the main master of everything. What do I mean? Hong Leong Group is actually the main organization that handles CDL, that handles Hong Leong Holdings. And of course, this part are all their, you know, Hong Leong Asia Limited, all the construction and engines and the engineering part of it, and also aircon systems. And Hong Leong also have their own Hong Leong Finance. We can see it all around. What is interesting is that because CDL is actually under Hong Leong, I can't help it but I start to think that actually, even Penrith is also a JV for Guacoland with Hong Leong. Even Hong Leong right now is also having a project somewhat very related to Zion. And with that, you also realize that CDL, under them, they also have their hospitality, which is they have their Copthorne hotels and their corporation over here, and they have their own tourist plans and, you know, hospitality also for their hospitality trust. So why do I want to share this with you? Because a lot of us are concerned. If today I'm buying Zion for rental yield, I will have a situation where the people over there may have a liking for service apartment more so than mine. But rest assured that under CDL, the service apartment component will be managed by their own in-house, department, and it will not overlap with Zion. But the difference is that if today you're going to put up your unit for rent in the same development, if you are not too sure about how service apartment work, actually service apartment per day, or rather per month, is about 12,000 to up to 15,000 of rental per month. And they are actually for the short-term accommodation of 1 to 3 months for most of the temp staff that a lot of MNCs or bigger organizations are hiring those temp staff or foreign talents to come to Singapore to work for a while. And most of the time, these corporate rents will if they are only renting for 1 to 3 months, they will likely go for the service apartment because they are not able to sign a lease in the residential portion of 6 to 12 months. So according to IRAS, the minimum rental is 6 months onwards. And that is the reason why this service apartment will be just a sweet spot to cater for the 1 to 3 months rental. So is service apartment going to be the problem for Zion? My answer is no, because today I'm not able to cover that part. But if you are keen to understand this portion, you can reach out to me or my colleague. He will reach out to you as well. Let him know. He will send you the Zion video that I've done that focuses on service apartment comparison on rental yield. But because today is mainly between Penrith and Zion, I shall not touch on this too much. If not, I cannot finish within 2 hours. Okay, so back to this, service apartment component in Zion will not affect the rentability of Zion Grand. Okay, and earlier I also mentioned that for Hong Leong itself, they have already bought over a majority stake in CDL and transform it from a loss-making company into a profitable property giant now. That means that if you are thinking about, hey, Zion is from CDL and Penrith is from Hong Leong and Guaco Land. Now I'd like you to change your perspective because the main person is still everything under Hong Leong Group. So technically the developers are the ones to manage the both projects in terms of their pricing. And I'm very confident that both of them in terms of their pricing will be very fair in the way they are going to price, because none of the developer will want to hold on to too much of stocks for both development, as their stakes are quite high since they have 2 developments running so close to each other at the same time. So about Guaco Land, maybe you have not known about this. Earlier I mentioned about CDL being bought over from Hong Leong Group. Now for Hong Leong Group itself, also they are doing super big now. They have also took over Guaco Group and Guaco Limited, which is what we know as Guaco Land Singapore and Guaco Land China and Guaco Land Malaysia. So if you look at this, right, everything is still pretty much under Hong Leong right now. And that's why I'm very sure there will not be a situation that both of these projects are competing with each other. They will be priced very sensitively because they want to move both projects to at least a 60 to 70% sold, usually on day 1 launch. So with this in mind, now you are clear that both developers less likely will be vying with each other in terms of the product because it's come from the main Hong Leong Group. And also the way they price will be very sensitive because they don't want to hold too much stock for both of their developments because a lot of stakes on hand. So since all is under one wing eventually, both developments will have controlled pricing, and neither of them wants to have loss in both ways. For Zion Grand, because it's intended to become the iconic or price development amongst both, that is the reason why actually so much more effort was put onto Zion Grand. Both developments have different target consumers. Just take this into consideration that for Zion, they are targeted towards investors and also young crowds. Because we all know that our government is trying to decentralize OCR area to RCR and CCR right now. That's why the River Valley plot is open up for launches during these 2 years. And for Penrith itself, it's mostly aimed for own state element. That is the reason why you don't see one bedder or one bedder plus study. Let's take a look at developer pricing prediction. Now that I've spoken so much about the developer, what are they going to do? First, let's look at Zion. When the developers before they decide to price their property, what they will be looking at are all about numbers. And since we know this is the step they're going to do, let me bring you to one step ahead. By understanding the market supply will allow you to have some advantage. Number 1, several new launches are launching in District 3 itself. There's a total of 5 plots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have River Green, we have Promenade Peak, units of 524 and 596. And upcoming in Q1 2026, we're going to have River Modern, which is near to River Green side at 470 units. And we have Zion Grand, which is 706 units, as well as River Valley Parcel C in Q2 or Q3 of 2026 at 470 units. If you take a look at this, you will have now realized the biggest plots of development will be Zion Grand. That is also one of the reasons why during the bid at that time, there was only one bidder, and that is CDL. The rest didn't dare to take up this because of the service apartment component. Not all developers have the financial means to be able to fund the construction of the service apartment, just as a replicate of how reserve residences was at that time. There were not a lot of bidders at that time, and eventually Far East got it, and they had to include their construction costs to build a shopping mall and an integrated development there, and then they can build their residential on top. So this is actually one of the initiatives that our government wanted, and it's kind of a non-negotiable. That's why when developers needed to bid this land, they have taken into consideration their profit and loss and their capability to be able to transform this biggest plot over there. For market supply, more competition is what I'm hearing from the ground, because my clients are asking me. In District 3 itself, this whole plot is having so many units that amount to 2,766 units. With 2,766 units, will there really be a situation of oversupply? Is the supply sufficient to cater for the demand there? So let's take a look at Let's take a look at River Green and Promenade Peak. For River Green itself, right, during that time when they launched, there's a total of 1,464 checks collected. Then from Promenade Peak, there was a total of 700 plus checks collected. That amount to 37% and also 49%. And the actual number of transactions that was happening was River Green was sold 465 units, and that made up to 88% of their total sales. Whereas for Promenade Peak, there was a total of 347 units transacted, that made up of 58% of sales. So if you take a look at this, for this total number of checks collected versus the actual transaction, there will still be a total of 1,354 buyers left from this first wave. So moving forward, if you also understand that developer also have this thought process, my direct competitor right now is Sky at Holland. And also, I'm holding on to these two plots. How can I better position myself? Before we come to the price point, these are the thought process that developers are having. And then later on, last week, Sky at Holland's developer came out with this new ruling, with this announcement that they are going to have prices back to 2019 or starting price from 2,598 per square feet. Of course, it depends on what kind of bedroom type are you looking at, whether you're looking for 2, 3 or 4 bedder. The per square feet starting from are different somewhat, but for this entry price, it's very, very attractive, and this is going to be the targeted next sell-out project in 2025. For those of you who have not attended my Sky at Holland's webinar, I have the link for the replay. Please reach out to my colleague when he's going to follow up with you after the webinar, and he will send you the link to let you watch a replay. And then just give me a minute. Maybe can you go out first? Okay, and then right, I have a question. Will they transfer some of the SA cost to us buyers? Oh, you mean the service apartment cost? The answer is no, because they are of different departments, remember? The MCST for Zion will be the MCST for Zion. And then for the service apartment there, we'll have another MCST there. And then they will also be the one managing there. You do have to take note also that the construction cost for Zion is way higher than a typical project. This means that they will need to rent out the service apartment for a longer period of time before they are able to break even the service apartment. So in this context, they will not transfer the service apartment cost to the residents over there and reduce your maintenance fee. It's less likely this way. But I believe the maintenance fee for Zion, although not out yet, it is going to be very attractive because it's 706 units over there, not like Promenade Peak. Okay, so for developer itself, there's actually a bit of price war situation now. And that is also one of the reasons why, as of now, we don't see actual price release from Zion, but we have indicative price, which I'll share with you as well. With that, with 1,352 buyers, if you take a look at the current competition in terms of the supply, for Sky Holland, there's a total of 666 units. For Penrith, you have 462 units, and for Zion, you have 706 units. With that, the total units for sale, if I add all of this together, will amount to 1,834. Of course, at the end of the day, no developments will sell 100% over the first launch. And therefore, if you sell it at 80%, averagely for all the developments, it will amount to 1,467 units. This means that from the 1,352 spillover buyers, assuming no additional buyer, it is definitely seemingly substantial enough to be able to fill up the number of units that is for sale. And next also, we haven't even include another 20 to 30% more in terms of the demand on new buyers. Sometimes at later time, they decide to come in like what you are watching me now. And then also we have a lot of there is a lot of supply in the market at this point. But in terms of numbers breakdown, you realize, it doesn't seem like it's a lot of it doesn't seem like it's an oversupply situation, because the spillover buyers that couldn't get a unit together with the new buyers definitely will be able to fill up 1,400 units as a whole for all of them. But nonetheless, developers are still going to be very wary about these two developments, because they also want to move their unit to 60 to 80% sold along the way. Just give me 1 minute. Yes, so it's okay. All right, so let's move on. For Zion Grand itself, now that we know there's not going to be an oversupply situation, the take-up rate should be quite healthy. I want to highlight to you what is the difference in Zion. The difference is the landmark presence you're going to expect. I don't share this a lot in many of my webinars, but I want to talk to you about this because this is one of the prominent things that we need to look at. Is reality-wise, right? If you see the Zion Grand's plot, over here, right, all these are the yellow lines over there are all the big roads. Because it's big roads, Zion Grand is over here, and because it's so iconic in the way they are designed, it's going to attract a lot of eyeballs, because a lot of people who are crossing by all the different road direction will see Zion Grand before they see Promenade Peak. Why is it important for you to know this? Because next time, if you want to do it as a resale property, you want to also notice that as a resale property, when everybody has visibility of your project and such iconic, it is inevitable that there will be curiosity that is aroused in these buyers or consumer, or even people who hadn't think about buying, but eventually when they want to, they may ask about it, as compared to Promenade Peak and even River Green, which is right at the other corner. So this is also something that you want to be mindful about, because next time if we're going to sell, it's going to be River Green and also Promenade Peak and a few others TOP at about the same time. But as compared to the facade and the overall visibility of all this development, I'm going to expect that Zion Grand to have more eyeballs or more interest and curiosity, so that, when I want to sell, I'm going to see myself, let's say if I'm buying Zion, to be a highly prominent project as compared to the other 4 plots. Similarly, you also know that since it's a 706 units, I'm also going to expect that if the layouts are good, it will definitely be a good plus point, which you have to stay till the end, because over at the end, I will be talking about the layout. Let's take a look at the break-even cost for both of the developments. For Zion Grand itself, if you see that, their total break-even cost is 2,091 PSF per plot ratio. And since we also know that there's going to be a service apartment component, notice that their construction cost is 359.1 million, as compared to as compared to Penrith at only 167 million. Why is it important for you to know this? Because even with all this increase of construction costs and marketing costs and land financing and all this that has service apartment component, the break-even price for Zion Grand is at $2,091. And for this Penrith, which is a RCR plot, it is also at 2,026 PSF per plot ratio. So, but when I'm looking at this number, I can't help but think about the fact that the gap is not too big. So if the gap is not too big, if developers are going to price this property very close to Penrith, it will make Zion much more attractive than Penrith, because since their break-even price is very close, I do not expect that the gap to be too big. But nobody really knows. That's why when I do the price matrix, I actually adopted a more conservative approach towards the price approach. Since we know that Sky will be launching at 2,598 per square feet eventually, we know that it's actually 40-story high development. It will go up to 3,002 PSF. This I've covered during the webinar that time. And then for this Zion and Penrith, what you will expect is Zion will be up to level 62, and for Penrith will be up to level 40. So all these are actually high-rise component, and in order to understand the developer's pricing strategy, what you want to know first is what do I mean by the three-phase pricing strategy. Three-phase pricing strategy means that for all developers, they will go through this price correction. Correction means they will increase over the cost of balloting, or they will increase over the cost of percentage sold. So how do you know? It's like in phase 1 is usually during the launch day. Phase 2 is usually during the leftover launch day. Phase 3 is the last maybe last 50 units. Then they will actually inch up the price by a lot. This is actually the old traditional way of looking at it. But right now, it's going to be a different approach. Why? Because since the take-up rate for most developments are very fast now, of 60 to 80% sold over first launch, what you will be seeing is this phase 1, 2, and 3 can have a chance to happen on the same day itself. What do I mean by that? It means that if developers are having a high-rise building component, what you will see is from a certain level to a certain level, this will be phase 1. And then there will be a loading on phase 2, on the mid-level. Then they will have a loading on phase 3, which is on the higher level. So this means that during the launch day, developers will be, showing us all the pricing. They will not be, keeping some units for sale later, but they are going to open up all the pricing. And if you are going in for the balloting, it is very important for you to take note of this so that you can be more mindful of how developers do their loading at certain floor level. To better understand this, later on, I'll also be sharing more with you. And then let's take a look at Upper House, which is a recently launched project that also has level up to 35 floor. For Upper House, it follows the same three-phase on bottom to top approach. We call this the floor level strategy. So this floor level strategy is, for example, for Upper House, for 2-bedroom premium of 700 square feet, the premium gap between the lowest price and the highest price, which is from here all the way to here, can be from level 14 all the way to level 34, with a PSF difference of 351 per square feet. This means that if I actually spread out this portion and average out, there's a difference of 0.6 per floor increment. This is for Upper House itself. So if we adopt this same approach, understanding that this could be developers' three-phase strategy, what you will see is, hold on to the thought, I am very, very nice. I like to give commercial break. So because there's commercial break, I also want you to win something. So for Jennifer, I know that you have already won something, but you are still welcome to explore this. So for those of you who are here, I am strongly encouraging all of you to stand by your phone. Stand by your phone right now because we're going to have a 30 seconds lucky draw time. Okay, what is this 30 seconds lucky draw is? I'm going to only limit to the first 3 sign-ups for this lucky draw that I'm going to give away this book that's personally written and one of the best sellers for the past few months that teaches you how to elevate your wealth. Teaches you how to increase your wealth from where you are now to 2x or 3x, and how do you do it systematically. This is a book that our boss, has been doing for these years, and I'm also one of the person who adopts this methodology and achieve a lot of success doing it. So I want you to have this book, but only limited to first 3. So since you already have your phone, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to sign up. Only first 3, okay? 30 seconds starts now. I need to drink water. Okay, so for those of you, you can look at the chat. The chat already demonstrated the link. Go open up your chat, click on the link. Okay, and also, let me extend the time. Those of you who don't know, look at your chat and reach out for the link. All right, and then sign up from there. I'm giving you extra 20 seconds. Limited to the first 3. 3 seconds. Because I need to finish a lot of sharing in time. So you guys already have the link there. I hope you have access to the link. So I'm going to go on to the next. Earlier, what I've shared with you are all about Zion Grand. Let's take a look at what Penrith is doing. For Penrith itself, these are the different bedroom types. And earlier I also mentioned they actually focus a lot on own stay element. The reason being is because there's no one bedder here. And later as you look at the floor plan, it's actually very efficient. So you have 2 bed, 1 bath, 76 units, and 2 bed, 2 bath, 3 bed, 2 bath, and up to 4 bed, 2 bath, and 4 bed, 3 bath. And what you will have is the site plan. For Penrith, their pricing strategy is going to be similar with Zion. But also a few things I want to flag out to you is for Penrith, I actually have one more layer of assessment, which is if you understand the earlier I showed you the site plan itself is on a very cramped location. This means that because Penrith is over here, as someone who is doing my analysis, the first thought that comes to my mind is it's a very small plot.
And this is
And it's a very
within the
narrow and
District
small
3
plot.
area,
Will
which I
it
love.
be
I
very
used to stay at
claustrophobic?
District 3.
Will it be a situation where, you know, I may have unblocked view here, or will I have unblocked view here, and what's the height clearance? So feed not, because I have done all this for you already, and what I'm going to share with you is that on the Penrith itself, since the plot is rectangular, I have zoned it into Zone A, Zone B, Zone C, and Zone D. Why do you want to know this? Because for Zone A, it's actually facing the HDB stack, which is HDB facing height clearance from 25 to level 40. And then for Zone B and Zone C, it's actually inside facing. And then for Zone D, it's actually facing the landed. So as you have known by now, for landed facing, it could be developer's premium stack. And then for the stack over here, it could be certain height clearance, then the developer will have loading. And then you also not to forget that if it's for own stay element, is it very important that east and west sun we also need to take note. Because if it's east and west sun, buyers will have less, you know, intention to buy a unit for own stay for, you know, for the west sun. Of course, you know, since we know Queenstown Primary School is only clearance up to level 9, anything at level 8 and below, the extent of the west sun could be way lessened. So with the east side, what you will have is a HDB block that is up to level 47. I have personally gone down to the actual site as I mentioned, and I really feel that it's extremely close, which means that although here is east sun, over here is 47th floor, you're probably going to feel extremely close. And if you throw one egg over there to the neighbor, to the HDB, maybe they may get the egg also lah. So that is how close that is. So to bring you into a better perspective, how do I look at it for the pricing strategy will be with this is Zone D. It's actually a height clearance of, this part is the church, and then this part is the school plot, which will likely be at level 3, and then the church will be roughly about level 9. And after this, what you will have is the future plot over here, which based on 2.1 plot ratio, the height is somewhere around 24 level. So that having said, if you're looking at a own stay element for, you know, yourself, and you want something that is unblocked, select something over here that is above level 7, so that you can have a better clearance in terms of the landed view. And if you're selecting a unit at, you know, you don't want to go buy a premium stack from developer, what you will need to take note is you can actually choose the HB stack. A stack effect means that this could be low rise, but this could be high rise as well. Means this low rise is actually until level 21 or level 25. And this over here is highest up to level 40. So if you're getting this stack over here, or this zone over here, which is Zone A, do expect that you're not going to have unblocked view unless you select something on the 30th floor onwards. You can see the skyline. Okay, and then, you know, in Penrith itself, there's not much of a selling point there, except for a location that's 380 meters to MRT. At the same time, there's also no school and no malls. That's why something has to be good over there for any buyers. That means if you want to go into Penrith, you definitely have to get a nice view over here, because people who are buying from you are for own stay. And you also want to ensure that you are not the stack close to the primary school, because if not, the people over here are going to experience a lot of noise during primary school days. And I have personally sold units that are beside primary school or near to a primary school. Believe me, it's not easy to sell. I'm not down selling Penrith, but I'm just going to tell you logically, this is what you're going to expect if you're buying a stack near to the school. So you can either choose the middle stack or choose the stack that's closer to the HDB if you don't mind that it's so close to you. But nonetheless, let's go back to the floor level strategy. With that, by now you have known that there's zone A, B, C, D. And then after that, you can also C, that is from level 2 all the way to level 40. Having said that, the 2-bed 1-bath is a 614 square feet. If you see level 2 all the way to level 39, we are going to adopt a very careful approach, conservative approach from 2550 per square feet, and with the top floor consistent with all the bedroom types until 3082 per square feet. Now, from this level to until here, we don't expect developers to price this up to 3,002 per square feet. Because usually when developers decide how much they want to sell, they will actually look at this amount to ask themselves, is this amount palatable for the buyers or not? Will buyers buy this area of 3,000 per square feet? The answer is yes, because of the view. But will buyers buy this without the view of 3,001 per square feet and stuff? Most of the time, buyers will not want it. So it must also be a price that is acceptable by people. Therefore, by using 2,550 per square feet starting from, is already a quite conservative approach. And with that, you will experience a difference of lowest to highest floor of 325,000 with a per square feet of 532 gap from lowest to highest. So earlier I also mentioned that if you are looking for this size, do take note for stack 10 and stack 4. Stack 10 is actually non-premium because it faces the HDB. And stack 4 is landed facing. If you really want the unblock, go for level above 8. But take note, they may have loading. So take note of the per floor jump over that time during the balloting. Then moving forward to 2-bed 2-bath, it's a 678 square feet unit. The premium gap between the lowest to the highest is 360,000. With 360,000, you also want to be mindful that stack 1 and stack 7, both of them are going to be non-premium because they are inside facing. Then for the 3-bedder 2-bath is 4 different types. You have 786 square feet being the 3A. The gap is 418,000. Now this is a new size that's introduced in that area, being a harmonized project. And what I'm going to foresee is that if you're going to put this size for sale in the market, you are going to expect that the receptiveness from people for resale may not be that well because they may not have adapted to this resale size. And not to forget that for Commonwealth Towers and also Sterling and the rest, they are all an unharmonized project. Then their normal 3-bedder starts from around 800 to 900 square feet above. So from these 2 square feet in the market, one will realize that how come the square feet is so different? And this might be one of the objection for resale in future. But nonetheless, for pricing strategy, you're going to expect 418,000 difference. So if you're buying for own stay and you do not want to stretch, it's a very attractive price from 2 million all the way to 2.4 million. That means 2 million is on the lower floor. And for stack 12 and stack 6, they are likely going to be non-premium stack. But if you are going for stack 12, 26 to 30th floor, which is the higher level here, will have a clear unblocked view. And that's the time that developers might do loading on these floor levels. Now, I understand that these information that are given to you are a lot to take in. So as of now, just absorb what you know and write down the things that you have learned. And anything else, you can leave it to me if you want me to guide you along. Or otherwise, if there's anything you're not clear, remember, keep asking me in the question because I want to make sure that you don't get lost. Okay? Back to the floor level strategy. There's 3-bed 2-bath for Penrith and it's 850 square feet with a difference of 452 from lowest to highest floor. And likely stack 9 is a non-premium stack because it faces the HDB. And same thing on the higher level, then they may have a loading as well. Then for Penrith, the third kind of 3-bedder is 936 square feet with premium gap of 498,000. The entry price is quite attractive. For 850 square feet, you can start from 2.1 million and up to level 4 is about 2.6. So if you are between the 2.1 to 2.3 million, you are able to get something in between of up to level 2 all the way to level 21. So I would say this price point is more receptive and acceptable by many. And this could be one of the fast-selling 3-bedder in Penrith. Next, also 936 square feet is a 3-bed 2-bath. What you will have is a 2.3 million entry price with level 40 up to 2.8. Also a very attractive price point with a difference of 498,000 from lowest to highest. And take note, it's only stack 2 and it's a non-premium stack. But because it's beside the school, you also want to be mindful that, it is not going to be noisy, or are you okay with the noise? So you also have 1066 square feet with a difference of 567,000. This one is usually most of the time for the HDB upgraders, or rather the condo upgraders, where they have a bit more funds on hand, they want to go for a bigger size. Or if you're someone who already, have done your IPA and you want to buy one for own stay and you don't want to sell, the entry price is also good, 2.7 to 3.2 million. So since it's stack 9, there's a loading for level 9 and level 24 from the clearance from school and also the premium view because it faces the landed side as well. Then for the 4-bed and 2-bath, this one 173 square feet with an entry price of 2.9 to 3.6 and difference of 624,000. You also want to be mindful that for stack 11 is a non-premium stack because it's inside facing, and for stack 5, because it's landed, you want to go for level 8 and above and be mindful of the loading. Lastly, for the 4-bed 3-bath, is the only 4-bed 3-bath over there where you have an entry price of 3.2 to 3.9 million. I believe developers want to be wary about, this highest price. Likely the max they go is about 4 mil. And there's a difference of 681,000 with stack 3 landed facing. Of course, they save the best for the last. They want to have the best stack that faces the landed so that, those buyers who are ready for the long game, they will go for this most of the time, like how J-Escape functions. So what are the other possible pricing strategy adopted by Guacoland? So you want to also be mindful to take note of it during balloting, because as much as we have already timed this for you or managed this for you, some developers, or rather sometimes developer will also have a bit of varied pricing approach. So what is it? For Springleaf residences, what Guacoland has done is that for level 1 and level 2 on the same stack, you notice that level 2 is selling at a much higher price than level 1 with a 35,000 increment. And then if you take a look at the same thing for 3-bedder in Springleaf, level 8 and level 7, also level 8 is 2,149, level 7 is 2,136, that's an increase of 12,000. And then level 12 and level 11 is also an increase of 16, 18, 17, and all this. So if you take a look at this, right, most of the time, some developers could be only like maybe 5,000, some developers 6,000, and for them to adopt a double-digit increment is actually one of the rare ways they do to kind of stack up or do their loading. So very, very minor, and so you do have to be very detailed when you're looking at the per floor jump. So if you take a look generally from the lower floor from level 1 to level 8, it's actually average out of about 3,000 per floor. But if you take a look at level 11 all the way to level 23, it's averaged out 11,000 per floor. So if you're looking for a good buy, sometimes in between, they will have the same level with the same price. I've seen it happening before. I'm not too sure it will happen again, but I do see it happen a couple of times. Another kind of pricing strategy for Lentor Central is for the 2-bedder, for the level 2 and level 1, what you will expect is level 1 is same size but priced higher than level 2 with 11,000 difference. And then from level 8 and 7 is also increment of 14,000 and increment of 32,000 for level 13 to 15. This is considered one of the big jump. And then for level 23 and 24, also another big jump. And these are also the things that you want to take note of it, because every dollar counts. So if you average out their per floor jump is about 8,000, but those who actually managed to buy before this jump are the ones that actually benefited the most, because these two people who has bought, if you are the one who bought at level 23, and then the next jump up is is 24,000, then definitely level 23 is the one that benefits the most as well. So I hope you guys are learning for the Penrith pricing strategy. I have talked a lot already. And then next, I will be talking about the bedroom types for Zion and Penrith, because later on, I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison for Penrith and Zion's pricing, so you can have some guide whether which one makes more sense. Do you guys have any questions for me so far? Is it too dry? If I'm speaking too fast, can you type a F for me? Or you can even, give me some reaction, like maybe you raise your hand if you feel that. If it's all good, can you give me an okay? Can? So that I know you guys are still there. Thank you. Who else is there? Okay, okay, good, good, good. So I'm gonna very a few very interactive attendees today, and then the rest are very, very quiet. I think you guys are too shy, but it's okay. Okay, so Zion bedroom types is a mix of own stay and investment, because for Penrith, they are focusing mostly on own stay and a bit of investment element. So for investment and own stay, what you will see is there's a total of 83% of units being spread out for 1, 2, and 3 bedder. And even for the 1 bed plus study, you have 474 square feet. And then you have 2 bedder, that is 538 square feet. This is 2 bed, 1 bath. And you also have 2 bed premium, premium plus study, 3 bed, 3 bed deluxe, 3 bed premium. So they do spread out in terms of the size, so that, you know, there are people who are buying for investment, they could afford a smaller unit. And people who are buying for own stay, they have a choice between the size itself. And then, of course, there are those who are purely buying for own stay, like a legacy home and stuff. And that's why you have 4 bedder premium and penthouse or 5 bedder. But for today's context, I will focus more on the 1, 2, and 3 bedder, less on the 4 and 5 bedder for Zion, because the ones with privately and quantum is a bit much. So if it's something that you are looking at, remember, you can reach out. So what is the pros and cons of owning a a project with service apartment? You want to be also very mindful that for Zion Grand, we know that their land plot is 1,202. That means that a lot of people will be thinking, hey, Zion is the cheapest plot over there as compared to River Green and Promenade Peak. Will it be a situation that Zion is going to be the lowest in price? The answer is no. Why? Because low land price does not translate to cheaper selling due to the service apartment component. Earlier, I shared with you about the almost 2 times of construction costs that developer has to incur, and therefore their cash flow will more or less be stuck for that. And that's why, you know, they would not be able to price low, neither will they price extravagantly high. So what exactly is Zion Grants going to be launched at? Since we know River Green's PSF is 2,846 and Promenade Peaks starts from 2,680. So with that, before I go on, let's take a look at comparison for per square feet between River Green and Zion, and also Promenade Peak. For 2 bedder itself, you will realize that for River Green, in terms of their size itself, they are known for very small size. So because they are aiming for very small size, you realize that per square feet is on the very high side. I have heard my clients telling me that, wow, 3,002 per square feet is very crazy, oh. And eventually, I also told my client to walk away because it is too high for the PSF. So the exit is not very strong. And then with this size and this per square feet, let's take a look at Promenade Peak. Because why? For Promenade Peak, their sizes are much more bigger than River Green. This also means that since their sizes are much more bigger than River Green, the quantum itself could also be different. And that's why developer cannot price the way River Green is pricing. They need to price in such a way that the quantum will be a acceptable range for buyer. So although River Green sells very well during the day one launch and Promenade Peak sells almost 60%, this is also because since the bedroom types are focused mostly for own stay, the amount of own stay buyers over there to be able to afford a quantum of Promenade Peak might not be so ready. So the average price that my client bought for Promenade Peak is 1.9 million plus, which I believe if you're a youngster just, you know, starting out, you might find that A 1.6 is much more palatable, which you can find in River Green as compared to Promenade Peak. With that, we have PSF of 3,002. We also have PSF of 2,009, generally for Promenade Peak in the bedroom types for 2 bedder. And lastly, let's take a look at Zion Grand. They don't have as many bedroom types as Promenade Peak, but what they have is 3 simple layouts. One is a 2 bed, 1 bath. One is a 2 bed premium, 2 bed, 2 bath, and 2 bed plus study. And in terms of size, it's 538, 646, and 721. Looking at this as compared to this and this, you can tell that developers is much more experienced because they want to spread out the unit size for the right kind of buyers to buy accordingly. So this PSF that you're going to expect is also an in between Promenade Peak and also River Green. So that's the reason why you realize the PSF will average around 3,078 averaging. Now let's take a look at 3 bedder. For 3 bedder itself, you can also realize that their per square feet is 3,000 to 3,002 for their 3 bedder, C1, 2, and 3. And for Promenade Peak, they have 1076 and 1033. So they have more weightage on the 2-bedder in Promenade Peak and less weightage on the 3-bedder. Despite so, their PSF is also around 28 to 29. Let's take a look at Zion Grand. For Zion, there's a spread of 3-bedder, 3-bed, 2-bath, until 3-bed premium as well. And what you will get is a spread of 818 to 861 versus 1055 to 1076. If you take a look at the size itself, it's actually quite in between both of them. So the quantum itself is also quite close to what they have transacted, and the per square feet will average to also the in between. So I would say if I look at these numbers right now, it will seem like it's a sweet spot, or it's like a very in between or very well balanced size and per square feet between River Green and Promenade Peak. This means that if you are looking for a project that, hey, I don't want to be the one buying the most expensive, I don't want to be the one buying the smaller size, then Zion Grand is a great sweet spot for the in-between in these two contexts. What about the quantum? For quantum comparison, what you will notice is that for River Green, the quantum will amount to 1.7 to 2.1 million for their 2-bedder. And for Promenade Peak, it's between 2 million all the way to 2.4 million. Then for Zion Grand, it's 1.6 million to 2.2 million. Why is it also very important for you to know this? Because you're buying a 706 unit project, considered mega development over there. But your quantum that of entry is not the highest, given that it's a big development, yet it's also a sweet spot in between both of these. That is also something that, I would say that this is a good plus point for Zion Grand. Because imagine the people who has bought at this kind of quantum, they will do have to sell at least for 300,000 higher in due time. And let's say there are actually 2-bed plus study buyers who bought it at 2.4. That means in the future, they need to sell it at 2.7 million. And if you are able to get a 2-bed premium at 2.2, even if you sell it at the same price as what Promenade Peak is selling, there's a good buffer of about 400,000 difference. So this makes a 2-bed plus study much more attractive than the ones in Promenade Peak. For 3-bedder itself, for River Green, 3-bedder average transaction at 2.4 to 2.7 million or even up to 2.8 million. For Promenade Peak is 2.9 to 3.1 million. And then for Zion Grand, you realize that the entry is 2.5 all the way to 3.3 million. So why is it 3.3 million here? Because the size is 1076, which is slightly higher than what Promenade Peak has transacted. So in this context, the people who are going to buy from you will likely be people who may have a larger quantum of 3.5 to 3.6 million. So if I'm looking at numbers right now, I would say that this could be a slightly disadvantage because people has already bought at a lower price than me. If I'm able to buy a price that is lower than what PP has transacted, I think it's a very, very good sign. Or even if I'm going to buy at a price that is slightly higher than what PP has transacted, I still think it's a very good sign because it's 706 square feet. Landscaping is so much better than Promenade Peak. But of course, this doesn't mean that Zion Grand is the best product. It really depends on which bedroom type and size should we eventually go for when it comes to other things like rental yield and stuff. Now that you understand all of these, let's piece things together. With a starting price of 2008, okay, we do expect that probably developer will have marketing announcement that start from 2007 per square feet starting from. They may have this because we have a bit of insider saying that they are discussing if they want to do it. So in any case, before they confirm, I'm just going to use 2008 per square feet as the starting from, which is their originally intended PSF starting. And from 2008 to the highest of 3004 throughout for all the bedroom types. That excludes the loading. So with that, your level 2 to level 62, based on a 1-bed plus study, the quantum difference is 427. 427,000 with a 902 PSF difference. Why is it higher than Penrith? Because the floor level is up to 62 floor, which means that if the floor level is higher, of course, there will be additional per floor jump. And most of the people who are buying here will be either no more units for you to choose already, or because you really enjoy and like the view, that's why you buy such a high floor without planning too much for exit. Otherwise, just go for a safe zone from here. Then this will allow you to exit safer with leveraging on the higher level because of the difference. Next also for 2-bed 1 bath and 538 square feet, The entry price is 1.5 million all the way to 1.9 million for their highest level, with a difference of 485,000. So the PSF is also 902 per square thousand difference. So therefore, if you are on a on a budget between 1.5 to 1.7, the good news is you should be able to get a unit in Zion Grand for 2-bed 1-bath. Next, also for their 2-bed 2-bath 2-bedroom premium, your entry price is 1.8 million to 2.3 million with a difference of 582,000. So area, if you are here, this could be something that you can be looking at. Okay, this could be something that you can be looking at because if you're able to get a 2-bed 2-bath in such a prestige location, this I think this is a good sign for you. Otherwise, we can also visit Penrith as well, which we will be doing for Ariel and Ernie, who is here in this webinar. All right, and then I'm going to move on to 2-bed plus study. 2-bed plus study is 721 square feet. The premium get is 2 million all the way to 2.6. So those of you who are considering 2-bed plus study with a budget of 2 million or 2.2 million, good news is you have something to buy here at Zion Grand as well, with a total difference from lowest to highest floor of 650,000. For 3-bed 2-bath, 818 square feet, you will start from 2.29 million all the way to 3 million with a difference of 737,000. So with this big price gap, I'm sure by now all of you will be able to know how to choose your unit, because from level 2 all the way to level 62, if you want to leverage on the floor level strategy, choose the lowest or the highest level. Can you answer me? I saw your reply, Ariel. So if you feel that now you understand what is floor level strategy, would you now choose a lower level or would you choose a higher level? If you choose a lower level onwards, can you type L for me? If you choose a higher level, can you type H for me? I want to know if you guys understand what I'm talking about. Can you please encourage me? Please encourage me. Christy is the best. Oh, all right, L. Thank you all so much. This is a very encouraging replies to me, because if not, I think I'm talking to the wall. So with this, let's continue because I'm so glad that you are learning as well. For 3-bed 2-bath, 861 square feet, you can get to enter at 2.4 million all the way to 3.1 million. And the difference is also 776,000. So some may be saying, wow, high floor, later a lot of units and stuff like that. But the thing is that because there's high floor, you will get to use other neighbors' entry price as your safety net. Next, also 3-bed plus study, 1,055 square feet with a difference of 932,000. And level 2 will start from 2.9 all the way to 3.8 million. And then for 3-bed plus study, 1,076 square feet will be level 2, 3 million all the way to 3.9 million with a difference of another 950,000. And notice that it's not level 62 because for this stack, the top floor is a penthouse. A penthouse, the developer didn't release any price, so for 4-bedder with private lift, as mentioned, I'm going to just touch and go. They have 1,173 square feet and 1,518 square feet with level 2 to level 62 for this one, which will amount at 3.9 to 4.23 million with a gap of 383,000. This is not very, very enticing. For 1,518 square feet for level 2 to level 42, you will have 4.25 million to 5.16 million with a difference of 910,000. So let's do a summary comparison for per square feet and quantum between Penrith and Zion. So you realize how come I will say so much for Penrith and so much for Zion is because I really want to ensure that I don't just show you the end product and without you really understanding how all these numbers work out together. Because you're buying a quantum of 1/million to even possibly up to 3 million. You also need to understand the mechanics of how we derive at the numbers, how we assess the difference in per floor jump, how we see the opportunity in a high-rise phase 1, 2, and 3 development, so that when you advise on the price to enter, you know exactly your safety net or gap difference. And if you want to put both products together side by side between Penrith and Zion Grand, you are now able to piece things together to see why is this comparison accurate. So what is happening is, if I take an average of Penrith at 2,790 per square feet, this is based on level 20. Remember, for Penrith, it's up to level 40. And for Zion, it's level up to level 62 or 61 for some. So if that's the case, we do need to take level 20 because Penrith is up to 40 and up to 62. It will not be a very good assessment if I'm going to take the midway of 62, which is 30 something level versus 20 something level. So to make things fair for assessment, we will use level 20 because both will have up to level 20 and more. So for Penrith, the per square feet is 2,790. And with that, the average quantum that you expect to enter is 1.7 million for a two-bedder. That's a mid-floor. 1.8 for a two-bed, two-bath. And also three-bedder, 2.1 all the way to 2.9 million. So likely the three-bedder will be moving well for the 786 to 936 square feet. And then for 1066 square feet will be around 2.9 million. From here, from this moment onwards, it will be less likely for the 4 years flipping game, but more for longer holding period. Because the truth is, if you want to buy RCR plot at this kind of quantum, you cannot expect it to sell within 4 years. Because the receptiveness of people willing to pay 3.5 to 3.9 million over here, this estate could be a bit harder, especially for a smaller plot. So what about Zion Grand is you can notice because it's a mix of 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedder. You will expect an average of 3,063 per square feet because their per square feet starting is higher. You have 1.4 million all the way to 4 million, with two bedder going in at 1.6 to 2.2 million, and 2.5 to 3.2 million, or up to 3.295 million for the three bedders, based on 818 to 1076. If you're looking at the numbers correct, I would definitely say that if I were to consider buying a two bedder, I would suggest Penrith because Penrith may have a 1.891 two bed two bath. Or I will also consider the Zion Grand 646 square feet, the 1.9 million. This is also a two bed, two bath. So if you take a look at the difference between Penrith and Zion, for even though the per square feet difference is about 200, the higher 200 PSF gap between this and this, I'm seeing that the quantum is 1.891 million, which eventually they will have to sell it at, let's say, 2.1 million in 4 years' time. And then if you are going to enter Zion at 1.978, even if I sell this at 2.25 million in future, the consumers are going to compare. Yeah, I'm paying 2.1 million for a product in Queenstown MRT versus 2.25 million for a product in Great Wall or Havelock area. Which one will be a situation that buyers will take more liking to? Since it's a two-bed, two-bath, most of the buyers will be buying for either good rental or buying for their own stay if you're a young couple. So today, if you're a young couple, I would also like to challenge you to think about this. For Penrith, you're going to enter a two-bedder at 1.891, selling at 2.1 million. And at the same time, while you're trying to sell, Zion is going to sell at 2.25 million. And do you think your unit will move better than Zion? This is very subjective. There will be people who like Queenstown and they will go for Queenstown. But there will also be people who favor Zion because it's such a central location with malls and school. So something I would be mindful about if I were to decide between Penrith and Zion. So for the three-bedder as well, if you take a look, the three-bedder, you will realize they have sizes from 786 to 850. So the entry price is 2.1 to 2.3 million. If you take a look at their three-bedder, they have 818 to 861 square feet, which will amount to 2.5 to 2.6. 2.5 to 2.6 means that next time they need to sell at 2.8 to 2.9 million versus here they will have to sell it at 2.6 to 2.7 million because their entry price is 2.1 to 2.3 million. They will need to sell it at 2.4 to 2.6 million versus Zion, larger three bedder, they will have to sell it at 2.8 to 2.9 million. So concurrently, when both products are being put up for sale during the same time, would you take more favor for the Penrith or will you take more favor for Zion? One being Queenstown area, one being River Valley area. So there are two different perspectives about this kind of approach. Because why? If you ask my husband, he will choose Penrith. Because he will say that, oh, this quantum is definitely very sizable for people to buy lah. But I would say that the size itself is 850 square feet. And that means that 850 square feet will have to buy it at 2.6 million. If I were to look at a 2.6 million Queenstown MRT versus a 2.8 million Havelock Great World area, I will hands down pay for 2.8 million at Havelock area. So not because I have favor for Zion Grand, but because when both are put up for resale in the market, I know exactly what the buyers are looking out for. So I believe by now, this will also be one of the assessment tool you'll be using to decide whether which project is better for you. But nonetheless, this is more for those who want to flip in the next 4 years. If you are thinking for own stay, it really doesn't matter. Just choose a good layout that you want to stay, which again, as mentioned, stay till the end because I will talk about it. So what about rental yield comparison? For rental yield, again, rental yield for two different areas is going to be a very long sharing, maybe another 15 or 20 minutes. So very, very generous me wants to be very, very nice to you to give you the second round of lucky draw because I just like to sharing is caring. So all of you, can you stand by your phone? Stand by your phone because it's only 30 seconds lucky draw. This time round, believe me, you will like this lucky draw. Jennifer, please don't sign up for this because you already won this lucky draw. Thank you. See whether you can hear the volume, okay?
Is real estate just for the rich? Are you willing to spend time and money to change your real estate journey forever? Let's go find out.
Can you guys hear? Okay, good. Thank you,
Right now, I'm at the
James.
Property Wealth System Masterclass, and I'm curious why almost 1,000 people are willing to spend their weekends here.
I think it's important to be familiar with property landscape in Singapore.
And I've been looking at property prices for the past 6 months, so a little bit undecided where to go and what to do.
Because I want to know more insights about property industry and how I can actually maximize and then plan forward to grow my wealth.
So what do you think about the trainers that have shared their concept?
Oh, they are very knowledgeable, that's first, and then they impart knowledge, which is very inspiring.
I think it's very interesting actually to see how they've accumulated their wealth throughout their journey in property investing as well.
I think they are very good to share for the kind of price that we pay. I think it's underpaid. I think you can easily pay even more for the kind of information that they are giving. So I think they are very generous.
Particularly, I like the sharing from Calvin Fong because I find it is very insightful and I learn a lot from him.
I find it useful to, refresh some of the concepts and then understand the latest property data that the presenters are showing to understand the market more.
And I think it gives me the assurance that it is actually something that is very, very safe, and it's all about leveraging to build out your wealth.
Whether you have a property or you do not have a property, I think it is good to attend this kind of course so that you will know what you should look out for if you don't have one, and if you have one, what should you do with it.
I mean, even if you're old, like what the speakers say, you can learn it and then teach it to the younger generations. You need to pick up investment skills. Cost of living is too high nowadays. You cannot depend on that salary.
I wish I attended this when I was in my 20s.
Knowledge is wealth. As we have heard, most people have benefited from this 2 days Property Wealth System Masterclass. So stay tuned for more, and this is Ray signing out.
Okay, very good. Welcome back. Are you ready? So the link is already sent out to you guys. What you will benefit from this lucky draw ticket is you will gain access to strategic property investment. You will be able to build wealth through real estate and learn how to do it systematically. And you will learn to craft your own roadmap for every stage. And therefore, stand by your handphone because I only have tickets to three tickets left for this property wealth system. So you have 30 seconds starting from now, and let's go. Chinese say 加油加油. Eight seconds left. I hope you guys are excited and very, very fast fingers. 2 seconds left and 1 second. Okay, that's the end. And let's continue because we will not have enough time. All right, man. Okay, large plot versus small plot. Let's talk about Penrith because why? One of the biggest concern, and I really need to solve this mystery because as I mentioned, I'm looking for a product to buy. I want to be very fair in the way I look at things, just as I want you to be very fair with the way you assess your property purchase. So for large plot versus small plot is the biggest concern for Penrith. And does this make a difference in rentability? If you take a look at Margaret, if you take a look at Penrith, it's actually positioned over here, and it's a 102,000 square feet with 462 units. But if you take a look at what is around Penrith, you will observe that Margaret View is a 51,000 square feet unit with 309 units over there. Then the Sterling residence is 227,000 square feet land size and with 1,259 units. And then lastly, you have Commonwealth Tower, which is this plot over here with 130,000 square feet size and 845 units. So if you take a look at the size, or rather the land size of all these 4 developments, you would have noticed that Penrith is the middle one. Why? Because Margaret View is the smallest, followed by Penrith number 2, followed by Commonwealth Tower number 3, and lastly Sterling. So ranking wise, right, this is the smallest, second, third, and fourth. So in terms of distance itself, Sterling Residences is the most fair assessment for rental comparison because it is a similar distance with Penrith. And then for Commonwealth Towers, the sizes are quite close to Penrith. We will touch on in a while. So what is the importance of large plot versus small plot? It means that if you take a look at the distance to MRT, for the smaller plot, which is Margaret, the size of the plot is similar with what you see in Penrith, just a slightly bigger version. And it's a 608 distance to MRT, meter to MRT, and Penrith is 380 meter. Commonwealth Tower is 132 meter and Sterling is 284. So with that, I'm going to take reference to Sterling Residence and Commonwealth Tower for our comparison. But I'm going to do a prorated approach for this because some have their layout that is close to what Penrith is offering. But in terms of the distance to MRT, Sterling Residence is actually a fairly good gauge for Penrith because the walking distance from here to here is actually similar. In fact, Sterling is a slope down to Queenstown MRT. So to get back to Sterling Residence, it's a slope up or slope down. I do have feedback from tenants telling me they don't like the slope. So that's why I will use Sterling versus Penrith because they are also a bit not so convenient to get to their project. The difference about their site plan is, if you take a look at Sterling, it's a big project, 1,295 units. You have full condo facilities with tennis court, with very nice swimming pools, with adult pool, with kids pool, with wading pool, and small water features. And then you also take a look at Commonwealth Towers, which is the next in line. There's also pool, water feature, and also water feature. Next, if you go to Margaret View, being the smallest plot, you probably only have 1 pool. So this actually matters when it comes to rentability in future because tenants do want to feel the vibe as well. Now let's take a look at Penrith. What you would have for Penrith is a 60-meter lap pool and a 60-meter lap pool, which is all in the middle. And of course, you have a tennis courts, which is important because it makes it a full condo facility. And you have all the gym, clubhouse, and everything over here. The distance from here to here is 60 meters. So some may say that, oh, it's quite a good distance away. To each his own. I won't say it's good or not good. I would say that it is quite close to each other, but fairly apart as well. So the plot is quite similar to Margaret View, but the location is comparable to Sterling Residences. Let's take a look at maintenance fee. Because as I was doing my research, I realized there was one key thing that is hardly discussed, which is maintenance fee. So agree with me, maintenance fee eats up your rental yield. And that's what exactly we are going to do when it comes to assessing if Penrith is going to be a problem or not. So for Sterling Residences, you see that their maintenance fee, because it's a 1,295 units, you have maintenance fee of $200 over to $320. And then for Margaret View being a smallest project, you have maintenance fee from $350 all the way to $470, even though it's only 1 pool. And lastly, for Commonwealth Towers, you have 1 bedder 300 all the way to 4 bedder around 530. In between 2 and 3 bedder, they are $467, which means in maintenance fee wise, you may notice that Sterling and Commonwealth and even Margaret, they are all having the same maintenance fee amount for 2 and 3 bedder. If you are intending to rent out, of course, choose the bigger size because then you can cover more of your maintenance fee. It makes much more sense. So what about Penrith? Penrith itself has maintenance fee of $424 per month for their 2 bedder. And 3 bedder is also $424 per month. So basically, the 2 and 3 bedder are also the same, $424. And then there's 4 bedder and 4 bedroom premium at $495. Still lower than Commonwealth Tower, but looking at this number, I got a bit concerned. Even though their 3 bedder weightage is 42% of the whole development, I still feel that this one is going to be one of the thing that people will ask if they're going to buy from you in future. So let's take a look at Sterling residences. How is it? For Sterling, you can notice that generally their 1 and 2 bedder, their volume for their rental is a total of 244 to 536, which is very healthy in fact. And for 3 and 4 bedder, the rental volume is also very strong. And then Sterling is a 1259 unit, and unit mix type, they have 1, 2, and up to 3 and 4 bedder. So what you have to know is based on their average average price versus their average rental, we derived at this breakdown with gross rental yield of 3866 per month with a maintenance fee of $230, and over their median average price, there's a rental yield of 3.9%. Same thing for 2 bedder based on their average rental versus their average price and minusing off their maintenance fee. Average rental yield is still at 3.4. And for 3 bedder is 3.4, and for 4 bedder is 3.3. So everything over here is 3.3 all the way to 3.9. Very healthy because maintenance fee is good. So will Penrith be affected with low yield due to high maintenance? So here's the answer. If I take a look at Commonwealth Tower, because their size itself, right? Their size itself is quite comparable with Penrith. You will realize that Commonwealth Tower has also 1 bedder transacting at 3,004, 3,005 and 3,006 on the low, medium and high, looking at the already transacted prices for the recent ones. And why do I include 1 bedder is because if you notice, Commonwealth Tower do not have 2 bed 1 bath. And Sterling Residence also. And then for this Penrith, they have 2 bed 1 bath, and their size is smaller. So we're going to take the average rental between their 1 bedder and their 2 bedder in between to have a gauge for their 2 bed 1 bath rental over there. So for Commonwealth Tower, 2 bedder is low floor 4,005, mid floor 4,650, and high floor 4,880, 4,008. Why do I split up the rental into low, mid, and high level? It's because low floor and mid floor and high floor usually warrants different rental amount. So if I'm going to use the same rental across the board for all the lower to higher level, your assessment is not going to be accurate. That's why I took one more step further to check the floor level averaging so that you can have a more accurate rental yield amount if you decide to go for Penrith. And then for Commonwealth Tower, for the 3 bedder, same thing. For their 3 bedder, they have compact 3 with lowest at 6,002, and I only have one transaction for the compact 3. And for their premium 3, low is 6,007, 6,008 mid, and high floor 7,000. All these are already transacted, and therefore I'm able to use them as your gauge over here. But you realize 3 bedder transaction is lesser because of the limited supply. Lesser people are renting. Generally, 3 bedder, most people are using for own stay. So with that, Sterling Residence also, they have 1 bedder. They have 1 bedder at 3,006, 3,007, and 3,008 on low, mid, and high floor. Because Sterling Residence is also up to level 40. Commonwealth Tower is also up to level 43. We are able to adopt the same approach for all these projects. So for Sterling, they are the only projects they have 2 bed 1 bath, which you cannot find in Commonwealth Tower, and Margaret also. And 2 bed 1 bath, their rental is low floor 4,003, mid floor 4,004, and high floor 4,005. For this, we are going to use this as comparison to our 2 bed 1 bath in Penrith. And then for their 2 bed 2 bath in Sterling, you will see that the low, mid, and high floor are all the same based on the recent transaction. So I was a bit puzzled for a while because I was thinking, how come the same sizes for Sterling, low, mid, and high floor are all transacting at the same amount, And then I got to derive at there's actually much more supply in the market, possibly. That's why there were competition within the development. So when I look at this, it also flags out to me that too big of a development might not be very good for rental because you will have a lot of competitors within the development, or too much weightage on two bed may not be good also because there will be a lot of units for rent should you decide to rent. So this is just something that I thought about and I wanted to share with you. And then moving forward for 3 bed 2 bath, low, mid, and high is 6,000, 6,005, and 6,007. So if I'm going to compare side by side for both Commonwealth Tower and Sterling, what you will expect is their one bedder will be ranging from 3.4 all the way to 3.6. And for Sterling's one bedder is 3.6 all the way to 3.8. Two bedder will be 4,005 to 4,008. Two bed one bath is 4,003 to 4,005. Three bedder is 6,002 for the compact size. And two bed two bath over there all is 5,000. Then for premium 3, you have 6,007 to 7,000, and 3 bed 2 bath 6,000 to 6,007. Now I know you will not remember all these numbers, but these numbers will help me to bring forward to the rental yield scorecard for Penrith. So the analysis is extremely as in-depth as I can. So with that, I know that for Penrith, it starts from a 2 bed 1 bath. The size is 614 square feet. In all of this over here, you don't see a 614 square feet. That is the reason why I'm going to use this as a prorated amount to assess for our 2 bed 1 bath. But you notice why is it that there's two 2 bed 1 bath over here? Not because there's two stacks, but because there are two scenarios that I want you to be mindful of. If the MCSC is 424 a month, that makes up of 5,000 over the next 12 months. So if I were to really consider Penrith, I want to make sure that my rental yield is at 3.1 and above. So with 3.1 and above, what are the possible two scenarios? Scenario number 1 is due to 2 bed 1 bath, the rental could be lower, which will be over here on the left, which will start from 4,002 to 4,003 to 4,004 on low, mid, and high level. So the 4,000, so I have divided into 3 stacks, which is up to level 12 is the first low floor. Level 13 to level 24 is the mid floor. Level 25 to level 40 is the high floor. So all these will be across the board for their 2 bedder all the way to 3 bedder. Because when it comes to rental, I have heard clients on the ground or tenants on the ground saying, oh, this is a 10th floor or it's considered low floor for the Commonwealth Tower. And I also heard in Sterling also, this is a 12th floor, also considered low floor. Because they do mentally divide the building into 3 levels. So you want to also do the same when you put it out for rent in the market. It's because you're going to buy either one, right? Like either floor level. So you want to know and manage your expectation. If you want to look for 3.1% rental yield, you can look for level 2 to level 9 because only until level 9 will you experience 3.1 to 3.2%. But if market is receptive and rental can be slightly lower than 2 bed 2 bath, you will expect that the rental is at 4,004. If it's at 4,004 on a conservative amount, you can go up to level 28. So these are the possible 2 scenarios. I cannot guarantee whether it's here or here. But on worst case scenario, you will expect this. On best case scenario, you can expect this. If it's higher than that, even better. But conservatively, at least you need to know, okay, if during the balloting, no choice, I have to buy up to level 20, I know my risk that I will expect rental yield of maybe 2.9%. And I'm willing to do it because I know that the capital gain is more important than the rental yield. So long you're very clear with your intent, then you will not be disappointed. But if you're going with, I know some agents will tell you, oh, everything will be 3% over here, rental is very strong. But on what basis? If they are the ones telling you this, then now you will know on what basis. Then you will be able to piece things together and make sense for yourself. Next, the 2 bed 2 bath for maintenance fee, same thing. 12 months 98, which means that it's safe to keep it at 3.1% as mentioned. And what you will expect over here for 2 bed 2 bath will be level 2 to level 20. You will still be able to get 3.1 to 3.3%. And option 2 is you can actually cover the $425 per month in the lease, or even half of it in the lease, increasing your rental amount from 4,008 to 5,000 to maybe cross 5,000. But as of now, there is no transaction to support if you want to cover your monthly maintenance into the rental. because the rental is already quite high. At 4,008, 4,009, and 5,000 for 2 bed, 2 bath. So therefore, if you were to lean onto an advice that is more predictable, lean onto option 1, where you go from level 2 to level 20 will do. Next, the 3 bed, 2 bath. 3 bed, 2 bath will be also aim for 3.1 rental yield. What are the possible two scenario is, one of the size is 786. Another size is 850 square feet. These are the two compact 3-bedder in Penrith. In these two compact 3-bedder, you are going to expect level 2 to level 21 based on rental 5,006, 5,007, and 5,008. So all these figures that I'm giving you over here are prorated and assessed based on the comparison that I am giving you for this. So rest assured that it's not overcoat and also likely it's not undercoat. So with that, as 786 square feet is a very new size, the rental amount maybe will scale down due to the sizable amount. That's why you realize the rental is only 5,006, even though they can go up to 6,000. But I really scale down for you because I am very concerned to overcoat you. So with 5,006 all the way to 5,008, you will expect level 2 to level 21. So if rental yield is your priority and you want to buy a 3-bedder, go for 786. Yeah, my husband is looking at this. Next, if market is receptive and rental can be slightly lower, what you also expect, right? Then, sorry, there's some typo here. So the next thing is also, ignore this. For the 850 square feet, what you will be seeing is that, okay, ignore this, For the 850 square feet, what you will expect is from 3.1 million, which is at level 38, all the way to level 2, you will expect 3.1 all the way to 3.3 with a rental of 6,000, 6,005, and 6,007, because this was what was transacted at Commonwealth Towers. Next, for 3 bed, 3 bath, same thing, 3.1 rental yield based on 1,066 square feet. None of them exceeds 3% because of the entry price that they are going in. You will expect from 2.7 all the way to 3.2 as mentioned earlier, but none of them actually exceeds 3%. If I base on 6,007, 6,008, and 7,000 as per what I see in Sterling and Commonwealth Tower. But then I will be very concerned because during the 3rd year, if I get keys to the unit, there will be a 4th year that I need to rent out for that 1 year. The question is, if you feel that you want to buy a bigger unit because you may want to come back and stay, then this amount of rental yield that you are getting, please work out your monthly mortgage. How much is it? If the monthly mortgage is, let's say, 8,000 and your rental is only this amount, minus the maintenance fee, are you okay to top up the difference? Is it enough? Is there enough finances for you to top up the every month without it being a liability to you? Of course, it should be a healthy liability, not to the point that it affects your lifestyle. So if you are thinking of coming back to stay, but you're not around at the moment, or maybe overseas, or maybe staying with parents, then do be mindful of the gap and make sure the gap is something that your CPF and your current income can finance. Otherwise, don't stretch the maximum budget that you are given from the bank, because sometimes you realize that you didn't cater for it. By the time you start paying for the mortgage, you regretted your decision. So based on 936 square feet, well, the good thing is that you can have level 2 to level 4 for 3.1 rental yield, and level 13 to level 15. Why is it so little? Although if you look at these numbers, with a rental of 6,002, 6,006, and 6,008, which is very healthy, you will see that 3.1% is only for the lower level. Later on in between, it will go from 3 to 2.9%. So if I want to be stringent about this, I will only select certain floor level, and I have a reason for that. So in summary, for Penrith, the rental yield ranking by bedroom type will be 2-bedder, 6, 8, 9 square feet will be a better rental property, with level 2 to level 20, rental from 3.1 to 3.2. And for 2-bed, 1 bath, level 2 to level 28, 3.1 to 3.37. But because there's risk if the market is poor, I've also stated here that level 2 to level 9 is your most safety buffer. For 3-bed, 2 bath, 850 square feet and 786 square feet, notice that 936 and 1066 are not really the best for rental yield. So they are mostly for own stay, so the yield is not high. If your priority is capital gain, go for the larger size. If your priority is to rent out and collect rent, go for these sizes. Set 850 square feet first, followed by 786, because if you want to resale in future, this is going to be easier. Okay, so let's take a look at Zion. So far, do you guys have any questions? I have no more lucky draw already. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop the question in the chat. Let me see if there's any questions. I'm gonna drink water while you think about question, okay? All right, so I hope you guys are not information overload, because I am like 60% here. So let's talk about rental yield. Rental yield for Zion, there's a total of 16 projects within 500 meter. For Zion itself, because it's 16 projects within 500 meter, I'm going to take reference with the ones that's closer to the size of Zion, which is up at Robertson and also Zenith. For the rest, they're either the size is not there, or they don't have one bedder. So with that, what you will get in up at Robertson is that up at Robertson is a 186 unit, but for rental purpose, let's just look at the layout. For up at Thomson, their average rental is 3,009 to 4,006, so this is their median rental. And their layout difference is, you're going to see a very large balcony, semi-open concept kitchen because it's an island top, and a large master room. Whereas for the same size at 474 square feet harmonized project, you will get a study room. You will be getting no balcony. You will have an entrance but open concept kitchen. So the space is actually more efficient, but the downside is that the kitchen is not so conducive as compared to up at Robertson. But again, our up at Robertson also has a very large balcony that most people don't really use. So the next competitor will be Zenith. Zenith rental is 3,003 to 3,008. We're going to take this as a gauge. And for Zenith, you can see that their size is also 44 square meter, very close to, in fact, the same as Zion, just that this is non-harmonized and this is harmonized. What you will get for a 44 square meter unit is that you have a planter, which most of the people will have decked it up. You have a very mini kitchen over here that is tucked away in one corner. You have a door that opens to the master bedroom and a bathroom that is a common bath for both sides. And the nice part is you actually have long living area to accommodate dining. And what's important is you also have a home shelter. Whereas for this Zion is you have a study, open concept kitchen. So in this manner, I would say that this kitchen also surpassed this, and you also have a home shelter. But even that, their rental is 3,003 and the other rental is 3,009. So let's take the average of the Zion rental in a moment. In terms of the site plan, what you will notice is that if someone's going to rent Zenith at 3,003 plus per month, they're going to expect like a boutique, super boutique development with the swimming pool on top. Whereas for Robertson Quay, they're going to expect 2 swimming pools on level 1, slightly better. And that's why the rental is 3,009 per month, averaging. And for Zion is 706 units. And if I take a look at this, the rental is 3,850 averaging, and this one is 4,006 as average. What we did was we look at the transaction average out lah. So with this, what you will get is Zion Grand with a very conservative amount of 4,000 starting from. Okay, with 4,000 starting from in Zion, it's quite fair because in this area with full condo facilities and an efficient layout we study, what we will get for rental yield is low floor 4,000, mid floor 4,001, high floor 4,002. So what we will see is if you expect a rental yield of 3.2 to 3.6%, you will go for level 2 to level 32 for their 1 bed plus study based on the conservative rental approach. Also, if you are looking at their higher level, to get a rental amount or conservative amount of 3% range, you'll be level 33 to level 53. So in any case, right, level 53 is until here. But if you want to play very safe, I would choose level 2 to level 32 because to be frank, 1 bedder or 1 bedder plus study in Zion, the view is not the most important already. The location itself speaks for itself. For 2 bed 1 bath, the average rental is 5,001, and we're going to take reference with Riviera. So Riviera is actually a newly TOP project. It's also a mid-sized condo, and they have one bedder from about 506 square feet. So why is it I take Riviera's one bedder? Because their size is similar with Zion's 2-bed 1-bath at 538 square feet. So for Riviera and Irwell Hill is also another example to share with us that their rental is around 5,166. Their range from 604 to 646. So in terms of site plan differences, Riviera is a 455 units with a conservation area that they have. There are some shops and also some lodging there, and also some tourist attraction there as well. And you also at Zion Grand, you also have Irwell residences. So with these 3 plots that we are using for comparison, what you will see is Irwell is on a hill. There's pool. There's a very nice setback from block to block. And then for Zion, the visibility of this project on the roadside and around, you will expect also a full condo facility. So in terms of ranking, I would definitely say that Zion will have the best facility, followed by Irwell Hill, and lastly Riviera. So what is the difference for their layout? You want to know that because if you're going to put your unit up for sale in the market next time, at the same size at 560 square feet versus 538 square feet versus Irwell Hill at 614 square feet, which is their smaller 2-bed 1-bath unit, you will see that when all these 3 are in the market for rent, one will notice the same rent for Riviera at 1-bed 1-bath with an enclosed kitchen, with a small dining area, and you pay for the aircon ledge. And then for Irwell, you have aircon ledge that you pay for, you have an L-shaped kitchen, and you also have a very tucked dining area. So for Zion, I would say that you notice that the walkway here is too long to result in space wastage over here, and open concept kitchen, and also a very tiny dining area. So but what you would get is 2 bedrooms with master bath over here with accessibility to going from outside, which means that I know some developments, they only can access from the master bedroom. But for this, they actually allow access from here and to here and here. So this is actually a dumbbell layout, more space efficient, but I still don't like this walkway. And then for Irwell, there's a shorter walkway, wider walkway for shoe cabinet. And because it's traditional layout, you have this wastage of space. Lastly, Irwell also have a very large balcony. So these are all some of the things that I will feel that when tenants look at it, they may not really like it. But of course, Zion may not be the best also because they have open kitchen and a very long walkway. So it's actually quite a tie over here. So if you're going to take a look at the average rental, you will notice that for 2-bed 1-bath, let's use 5,001 as a lower level starting price, and then 5,002 as the mid, and 5,003 as the higher level. So the rental yield to exceed 3% or even more than 3% is at 3.5 to 4%, you can go from level 2 to level 37. So you may say, hey, later, what if there are other projects that come out, I will have more competitors. With this amount of cushioning for 3.5 to 4%, as much as I don't like the entrance here, I would say that the worst case scenario will still fall back to what, 3.1%. So this means that I can go for level 2 to level 37. And then if you want a higher level to achieve a 3% range, you can go from level 38 to 62, which means all of these are able to go up to above 3%. But again, I would choose maybe from level 45 and downwards to have a safety net. So what about 2-bed 2-bath rental is that the average rental is 5,187. So for their 2-bed 2-bath, Irwell Hill also have similar size, and then the layout differences is 657 square feet versus Zion 646 square feet. With this, what I like about Irwell Hill is they have enclosed kitchen, although no window. But Zion has a long kitchen, and I think this is also not the best. And then for the dining area, they have a tuck away dining. This one they also have. And then they have living area, which is longish, and as well as Zion. But what you would have is actually a more longer living than this Irwell. And the width of the living area, this is actually slightly more spacious. Then lastly, and very significantly, is Zion's 2-bed 2-bath has window in the master bath, whereas a well does not have window in the master bath. For those people who are very, very sensitive, they may look out for these, and this could be one of the determining factor for them to decide if both of them are going to rent at the same rent amount. They might take a favor for this more so than this. So starting from 5,002 per square feet for Zion, what you will have is 3.45 or 3.14 all the way to 3.45 rental yield. And for mid-floor, from 3.1 to 2.89, unfortunately. So if you do want to have rental yield from 3 to 3.5, go for level 2 to level 35. So based on estimate, sad to say, the 2-bed 2-bath in Zion Grand on the higher level does not exceed 3%. That means that this is a warning, and don't buy on impulse. Don't buy so high floor for Zion Grand's 2-bed 2-bath, because you might enter this situation and top up the differences. So 2-bed plus study rental analysis is similar size comparison. Zenith is 743 square feet. Up at Robertson Quay is 753 square feet, and Zion is 721. This is a harmonized, this is unharmonized, and this is also unharmonized. What is different is that when you enter from the main door, your kitchen is at the side, whereas this kitchen is tucked away at one corner. And then this kitchen is the best because it's, you know, a very sizable kitchen. But the bedroom over here up at Robertson is an open sliding door. That means that you actually, seems like you can convert this to another bedroom, but it can only fit a single bed. So it's a very, very tiny room with no proper window ventilation also. You see? So the balcony is also extravagantly big. And then for the Zenith, is a very long planter with a bedroom that is also very tiny because it's only one single bed. So what do we have at Zion is a sizable walkway, a study area, a tuck-away kitchen, a good-sized balcony, and a good-sized common bath. So this common bath, as compared to this, can put a queen-size bed and 2 side tables as well. But this one is only one single bed with 1 side table. So in this context, if I put all of them in the market for rent, what I would expect is this unit will likely go first. So if I compare with Martin Modern, which is also another development that has 2-bed plus study, Martin Modern is 850 square feet as compared to Zion. What is the plus point is Martin Modern study area is so much better and with a window and a kitchen that is a U-shape tucked away at one side with dining outside. And then, but there's a bit of wastage of space on the walkway and also paying for the aircon ledge. Whereas for Zion 721 harmonized size, you have one of the bedroom having half height window. It's the same as this one as well, but this is paying for aircon ledge. And then also for the kitchen is not the enclosable ones, but it's a tuck away kitchen. So it's actually quite similar with this, one being U-shaped, one being L-shaped. So since the difference is not extremely significant, but in terms of space efficiency, this is better because there's no aircon ledge, there's no walkway. I think there are actually competitors, good competitors in the market. In terms of site plan, you will notice Martin Modern is a 450 units project as compared to Zion, which is 706. So for Martin Modern, actually is one of the most beautiful project over there in River Valley. And they are the ones that profited the most, just for your information. And they have a swimming pool and some like facilities at the side and all this. Actually quite nice and quite atas. For Zion itself, you have water features and all this facility is definitely so much better in terms of facilities and landscaping because they have architectural designers and all this. So what will happen is for Martin Modern, based on the 850 square feet, average rental amount is at 7,005. If I prorate the size, because it's 721 square feet, I will take 750 prorated to 5,008 starting from. So it's a very, very, very prorated amount. What you will get is a rental yield of 3 to 3.4% for level 2 to level 34. And then if you're going for higher level, level 44 onwards, your rental yield become lower as we go higher. So buy at your own risk. Buy at your own risk, okay? Next, 3-bedroom rental, compact, is also around 7,005. And this time around, we're using a well. For the size itself, is averaging about 7,005. And if I use the prorated rent, since it's the same size, for this Zion Grand, it will be the same rental, but it's a harmonized project. For the 3-bedroom layout analysis, you will see a well 861 square feet, having I don't know why the dining area is there, but it takes up the space that you could have converted into a room. And also the bedroom that is smaller, but a very nicely tucked away kitchen with glass over here. So quite nice. And then for this Zion's A18 and A61 square feet, all rooms are actually efficiently spaced. They all can fit a queen size bed and side tables for all of them. The difference with these two layouts is that you have privacy at the entrance area as compared to 818 where you don't have privacy. So I know some of you over here are considering 3-bedder in Zion. So if you're considering 3-bedder in Zion, I think this will be one of the best layout to choose for 861 square feet. Huh? Yeah, 861 square feet. So 861 square feet with a kitchen with window. So to find a compact 3-bedder with kitchen have window really is not easy. So based on the rental, as mentioned earlier, for 818 square feet, you will have rental yield from 3.5 to 3.9% from level 2 to level 21. And then for 861 square feet, the rental yield is 3.4 to 3.7% for level 2 to level 21. Oh, for Zion, you have two types of 3-bedder. There's 59 units for 818 square feet and 861 units for 861 square feet, you have 118 units. Based on low floor, mid floor, and high floor, for this smaller unit, I start from 7,005. And then for 861, I start from 7,006. So I think it's fair. And then moving forward to the mid floor, you also get to experience 3.2 to 3.6% from level 23 to 42. And also for 861 square feet, 3.1 to 3.4%. Lastly, for the higher level, for level 44 to level 61, you have above 3%. And for level 44 to level 58, you have also above 3%. So the numbers are more decent. I would say for Zion itself, I may choose the highest level and work downwards instead of lowest to highest. So for 3-bedroom analysis premium, the average rental we are seeing is 8880, very nice number. So we're going to take reference with Martin Modern because Martin Modern's 3-bedder has similar size than as with Zion. And the prorated rental will also be using this amount. For layout differences, if both are going to put up for sale, what you will see is also a aircon latch. So both rooms are actually half height windows and a long walkway, but a nice kitchen. Again, I don't really like this because it's very long for Martin Modern. For Zion, you have a kitchen, same as this, but the difference is the window. Very important. And you have a home shelter, which you don't have over here. You also have a study room that you don't have over here. And the rooms are also very sizable as compared to Martin Modern. So although the square feet looks smaller, all bathroom comes with window, unlike this. And you have extra home shelter and also extra study area. So if you were going to be a buyer for resale and you look at this layout and this layout, I'm very sure we will favor this more than this. So for 3-bedroom layout analysis, what you also see for the larger size is 1076 square feet as compared to Martin Modern's largest 3-bedder at 1012 square feet. What you would have is also the kitchen that has a window. This one good. And then for 1076 square feet, you have a short walkway. It's a shorter walkway. You also have a study. You have a kitchen with window as comparable, so comparable. And you also have a home shelter, but this one don't have home shelter. So price difference wise, not rental. Again, we're going to start from 8,005 for the smaller 3-bedder and 8,006 for the larger 3-bedder. Your rental yield will be level 2 to level 21 for 3 to 3.4%, and 2 to 21 also for 3 to 3.4%. So quite fair. And then for their 3-bed premium plus study, it's a total of 116 units, right? So if you go on to the mid floor, you have 3 to 3.1 at level 23 to level 33. This moment onwards, you realize, the rental a bit drop. So maybe this floor level is better. Then for the larger size, 3 to 3.1 for level 2 to level 32. Last but not least, the highest level, also warning, buy at your own risk. I repeat, buy at your own risk. Above level 44, the rental yield is below 3%. So please focus on capital gain. If you are buying for own stay, it's fine. If you are buying for rental, please buy at your own risk. Thank you. So in summary, 1-bed plus study has 3% yield for all level. 2-bed, 2-bath has 3 to 4% yield. 2-bed, 1-bath. 2-bed, 2-bath has up to 3.5% yield and up to level 35. Above that will be lesser, so the risk is higher. 2-bed plus study has 3.4 yield up to level 34, and 3-bed 2-bath has all level exceeding 3% for 818 square feet, and for 861 square feet up to level 58. For 3-bed 3-bath can yield up to 3.4, only up to level 33. And also my reminder is the prices on balloting might change, because as I mentioned, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, the per floor loading might be different, or certain stack will have a bigger price jump. So need to learn to react and be very sensitive to it when it happens on the day of balloting. So after saying so much, let's look at a comparison summary. So this is the rental yield comparison. For Zion, because they have 1-bed plus study, they have rental yield of above 3% for all levels. For Penrith versus Zion's 2-bedder, you will have 2-bed 2-bath and 2-bed 1-bath having rental yield of 3.1 to 3.37% on their kind of mid-floor and below. And then for Zion, you have 3.4% all the 3 to 4% all the way. For 2-bed 2-bath, you have up to level 35, so more choices in Zion. Above that might be higher risk also. For 2-bed 2-bed plus study, you have 3.4% yield up to only level 34. And then for 3-bedder, there's 3-bed 2-bath here. All level for the smaller 3-bedder can exceed 3% yield. But for the slightly larger one, you can only go up to level 58. Still quite decent. And then for 3-bed 2-bath, it is 3.1 to 3.35, but only on selected level 2 to 38 for the smaller 3-bedder. And 786 square feet, the smallest one, is up to level 21 only. So lastly, 3-bed 3-bath has yield up to 3.4%, only up to level 33. And for Penrith, you have you noticed for their 936 and 1066 is mostly for own stay. So the yield is also not high. So if you want to buy the larger unit, then go for own stay. So prices on balloting might change, so please need to act fast on the change and adapt to the yield accordingly. I have a question. Any idea on the maintenance fee for Zion? Not yet. The developers are trying to finalize it and are waiting for COH approval. That's why it's not out yet. So why do I have Penrith? Because Penrith is launching earlier than Zion. So Mr. Tan, I will be mindful of your question. We will definitely send you updates on the maintenance fee for Zion. So Daryl helped me to take note of this as well. No problem at all. So let me take a commercial break. If you feel that you like the contents that I'm sharing with you and you like the in-depth analysis or whatever, or you like me as me, please go to YouTube, look for my name, my Live for Home SG, and go to YouTube, click like and subscribe. Thank you so much, because every week or every 2 weekly, I'll be posting new content on video to tell you about what I see about the different projects or the market as a whole, or market analysis. So it's definitely beneficial for you. And I have helped many clients to achieve their asset progression in a safe and systematic way. That's why I am very enthusiastic until now about what I'm doing, because we are actually changing life and improving the quality of life in many people. And I hope you can also be one of them. So we do look forward to work with you. This is a bit of sharing about me. What I did with my partner is that we also grew from HDB. And during the period when I'm giving birth to my third kid, what happened is we were thinking about asset progression, but we were also fearful. At that time, we were considering whether we want to go to a 1.6 to 1.7 million EC resale. But luckily we didn't, because right now it's only selling at 2 million. And we took the leap and bought a 2.86 million property in Claremont at that time. And we only stayed here for 8 months. So technically, once we just reached 3 years, and we sold it at 3.71 million. So with the 800 over thousand of gains that we made, and with a lot of hard work, we decided to split our assets into two. One to buy Nava Grove, I already bought at 4.04 million last month. And also another one with my husband's name at a 2.5 to now 2.8 million per 2.8 million budget. So why are we doing this? Because if you remember what I say, we can actually build our asset progression systematically, and of course every risk must be mitigated carefully. And our target, all of us should have a target on how you want to grow your assets. If you feel that no, this is something that you do want to grow towards, I will be more than happy to help you. You can always reach out as well. Okay, So back to layout comparison. Layout comparison is the last part of today's webinar, and I will try to finish it fast because it's very soon. For Zion Grand and Penrith, let's take a look at Penrith. Penrith, we have 2-bedder and 2-bedroom premium. The difference between both is your entry price is 1.5 to 2 million, and the other one is 1.7 to 2 million. And the difference is 178,000 with a wider entrance, enclosable kitchen, and a tub dining. So in terms of comparison between both 2-bedder, I would definitely encourage you to go for the 6, 7, 8 square feet. But do be mindful that there's actually west sun in the balcony. If it doesn't really matter too much, I think this is not a very big concern. Next, we also have 3-bedder layout comparison. Again, we are going to take reference into the site plan, noticing that this is actually the west direction, this is the east. What you would be getting is that there's a 2 size of 3-bedder, 786 square feet and 850 square feet. With these 2 differences, what you would get is diagonal west sun for the 786 square feet. Your entry price is 2 to 2.4 million. And the difference from the smallest to the next 850 square feet will be only 178,000 averaging. So what you would get is a more private entrance, whereas the 786 is direct entrance to the living room. So lesser privacy here, more privacy here. And you have a nicely tucked away kitchen with window at the side, whereas you have a longish kitchen with a window at the side. So this will be quite narrow if you were to imagine. And then for dining, there's also dining area here. And what I want to highlight to you is that for this 850 square feet, you have diagonal west sun on balcony and wall. This means that this wall, because you're the corner stack over here, what you will see is west sun on this wall and diagonal west sun all in your balcony and rooms. And not to forget, this is a school site, so it could be a bit noisy. But nonetheless, if you disregard all this, I will choose this layout as the more better layout because of the privacy and also the kitchen that is more spacious and more conducive. So if I take a look at the bottom part, which is the larger 3-bedder, you will have 936 square feet and also 1066 square feet. So for these 2 comparison, what you would get is the west sun will be from here. You'll be on your wall and also on your balcony and in your diagonal rooms. But why is it that this is the selected layout for 936 square feet? Because I'm focusing on own stay and resale element. People will definitely prefer to have some privacy here than straight away looking to your living area. And even though the kitchen is slightly longer and bigger on the 1066 square feet, the kitchen over here is also not too bad. It's still a compact enough size with window as well. So you don't really compromise much on the space. So both are going to get west sun either on this wall or on this wall. And you're also going to get some west sun here and on the balcony. So as such, I don't see this as much of the determining factor. In the show flat, this is the layout. You can actually go down and have a look. And then also, the entry price will be 2.55 million average for 936 square feet. Much more affordable than entering at 2.95 million, almost 3 million for a 3-bedder in Queenstown area. So what about 4-bedroom comparison will be 1173 and 1281. In this area, in these 2 comparison, I will only focus on own stay because this is not the rental use type that people will be looking at. The average price of entry is 3.25 with entrance over here directly to the living room as well. But this one also to the living room. And one thing I don't really like about the 1281 square feet is it's extremely long here. But what can be compensated is the landscape layout in the living room, which makes it very comfortable because it's a 5.5 meter width. And the balcony is also very comfortable. So if it's focused on own stay, I would definitely suggest this because this is a portrait layout and it's not so grand as how own stay person would like it. So the difference is 300,000 difference. Is it worth it? It's definitely will because it's an average of 3.25 million versus a 3.55 million. So both are already at the 3.5 million benchmark. I will definitely choose the 1,281 square feet. That's the reason why this is my top choice. So for Penrith, I'm not too sure if you guys know or not, but the preview is next Friday. Yes, is it next Friday? Yes, it's next Friday. So for those of you who are considering whether you want to, hey, let's go to Penrith and have a look lah. Maybe I haven't decided I want Penrith or Zion. Maybe I'm considering I want Penrith, but I'm not sure if I want the layout, the finishing, the all this or not. Then please do click on the link to register for the preview. Then I will make sure that I'll be attending to you to guide you, to walk you through this project. Since so much has already been demonstrated to you, I'm sure you also want to compare the finishings and the actual layout. So you do see the registration link inside. You can click on the chat, click on the registration link to go to Penrith for a shopping experience. So it will be only launched between 3 to 13 of October from 10 a.m. I was told now to 8 p.m. And on the balloting day is on the 15th of October. And on 17 to 18 October will be the selection of unit. Where is it located at? It's located over here. This is the actual site. And this is the sales gallery. There's some public car park over there if you drive. Otherwise, you can actually walk from here to here. It's about 10 minutes walk. Oh, no. Yeah, it's about 10 minutes walk. Huh? And then there's alternative parking over here. If you want this to be sent out to you, also let my colleague know, and I will reach out to you and send it to you. Okay? So the link is in the chat. You can click on the link to register, and I will come back to you after the webinar. So Zion, there's only one type of one bedder, which is as I've shown you just now. The study area is here, the walkway is here, open kitchen and stuff. And then for two bedder, there's three different kind. You have 2 bed 1 bath, 2 bed 2 bath, and 2 bed plus study. In this, all these differences is 2 bed 1 bath versus 2 bed 2 bath. The average price difference is 300 to 320,000. So one is a dumbbell layout versus a traditional layout, and the master bath has window, which means that if you take a look at the master bath here for the 2 bed 2 bath, you have windows, unlike 2 bed 1 bath that you don't. So the walkway over here are also the same long. I do feel that the dining space is a bit cramped, but if you do have a budget only for 2 bedder, I would definitely encourage you to go for the 2 bed 2 bath. And then since the top up difference is okay, you can start from the lower level. Next is also, I want to highlight to you that the aircon latch is right outside the common bath for both 2 bed 1 bath and 2 bed 2 bath. So don't expect to have full height windows for both. So that explains why I would suggest 2 bed plus study as a top choice, because the average price difference is 200 250,000, but there's lesser competitor when you're selling, and the study can actually be used as a helper room. This means that the aircon latch for this one, right, is outside this bedroom, so this will be a half height. You have a balcony here and also a full height master bath. You have a study here that has an aircon, but unfortunately no window, so you can use it as a storeroom or use it as a helper's room. You have an L-shaped kitchen. You can choose to enclose it with glass as well. So comparing with this and this, definitely I will feel that this is actually more efficient for own stay than a 2 bed 2 bath. For 3 bedder, you have the 818 square feet versus 861 square feet. The average price difference is 120,000 to 180,000. You have an enclosed kitchen, more privacy entrance, enclosed kitchen, more privacy entrance, and all rooms comes with full height window. So there is no aircon latch for the 861 square feet. Unlike the 818 square feet, you have aircon latch over here, which means one of the room is going to have a half height window, and you also have open kitchen. So if you are going to sell, definitely this is more easier to sell than this. That's why I will top up difference and go for 861 square feet. And for the 3 bedder plus study, the difference is even closer. It's only 60 to 80,000. So what you would get is, actually they are not too different. So you realize I don't put number 1 or number 2 here. The thing is that the entrance is the only difference, which means one entrance has 5 steps more, whereas the other entrance is 1 step towards the bomb shelter. So if you're buying grocery, you have to walk 5 steps to reach the home shelter, and this one only 1 step. So other than that, the rest of things are all the same. You have all bathroom with windows, you have good size bedrooms that can fit queen size bed, you have dumbbell layout. So there's no significant difference for both of them except for the entrance over here. And that's why I would say both of them are a tie. At the end, it depends on your queue number. So if you want to be stringent, the floor plan here will have more west sun. This one will have west sun over here. So that's about it. For the 4 bedder, coming to the end, thank you for staying with me. The 4-bedder comparison is 1421 versus 1518 square feet. Difference is 270,000 to 300. Basically, the master and junior master are just slightly smaller for this one. Okay, so what you will have is a larger, bigger master for the 1,500 square feet. Of course, they have to. And the 1421 square feet is slightly smaller. And then the junior master is over here. You don't have a long walkway here. This one is slightly shorter. So I would say this is more efficient. Kitchen-wise is L-shaped. This is both sides. But I think this is also a good size because you already have a window over here. This kitchen, the window is all the way at the yard here. This one is nearer to where you're cooking. So for ventilation, I will feel that the kitchen here is more well ventilated. So the walkway here is slightly longer as compared to this. So if I were to pay for a more efficient space, I would say the 1421 square feet is more efficient. And therefore, I will select this as my top choice for my 4-bedder. So for Zion Grand, what you will expect is the show flat has already been confirmed. It will be launched on the 8th of October until 21 or 22nd of October between 10 to 8 p.m. You can actually also click on the link that is in the chat now. I have not deleted it. Click on the link and register your interest to go for the show flat preview. It's more for you to compare whether which one do you want to compare or visit and stuff like that. So click on the link to register for your show flat preview so I can walk you around and explain more in terms of finishing and facing and west sun and everything else. And the balloting day will be on 23rd. Selection of units will be on the 25th of October. Okay, any questions that you want to ask me for today? Very tired, speak for 2 hours already. Do you guys have any questions for me? Except for Mr. Tan's Zion's maintenance fee. How about the rest? Do you guys have any questions? Not ballot same time pick units. Yes. So what happens during balloting is that you will normally when you go for a show flat preview, what you would do is you will register your interest over here during the viewing. Then if you want to try for a queue number, you can register interest. Wait for this day to know your queue number, or rather your ballot number. Whether hang on what or not hang on what, depending on your ballot number. So you will know your ballot number to decide whether you want to attend on the day of on 25th October. If your ballot number is hang on what, right, you will come in the morning of 25th. But if your ballot number is very, very, very far away, then you can, most of the time, you will choose whether you still want to come for the balloting day or not. So this is to know the result. This is to decide if you want to come and select a unit. Any more questions? Any other questions? Okay, so if there is no more questions, I shall end the night and share it and thank all of you for being here. I hope you have benefited from today's 2 hours and 15 minutes sharing. And remember, the best property decisions are not made by chance. Create it with the right strategy, and I'm sure you have success in your property journey. My name is Kelly. I'm an asset elevation strategist and a certified legacy planner. Feel free to reach out, and thanks for your time. See you in the next webinar. Bye. Welcome, Mr. Tan. So glad you benefited from it. Hope you have registered for the lucky draw. Hope you have fast fingers. No problem. Good night. Good night, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you, Ariel, Chris, Jen, Mr. Tan, Vincent, and Jack, if you're still there. All right, I'm going to log off. Bye.
We don't talk anymore like we used to do. We don't laugh anymore. What was all of it for? We don't talk anymore like we used to do. I just kept on lying next to somebody.